you know, still 'tis the season. We have the New Year's coming up soon. Dang it. Sorry, YouTube. I forgot to put it on the screen. You guys should be able to see it now. Sorry, YouTubes. Anyway, 'tis the season. With that being said, tap the screen, share the live, knock out the daily gift goal, the little I'm ready, and let's do it.
You stepped in the box, now you're in the ring. Ain't no hugs here. You better take your best swing.
Mike hot.
Who wanna step in the flame? This ain't a debate, this a mind game. Facts like lies get left in chain. One wrong word, get slapped out your name. This ain't TikTok T, this a war zone talk. No script, no filter, no safe walk. Bring stats and get scrambled like a glitch. I got fire in my mouth like I came from the pit. Yeah, step in if you dare. Truth hit hard like a punch in the air. Ain't no rules, no plan, no script. One wrong move, get cooked real quick. No cap, no shield. Better know your stuff or you get revealed. Step in, don't you wanna? Sparring with Santana. I don't care what you claim or your background. Facts only, if not, get clapped down. Whether you're left or right,
or you don't even vote.
If your logic is weak, I'll sink your boat. You talk slick, but you ain't got source. Just vibes, that ain't power, that's force. I'm the test, the trap, the trip, the call.
Hey.
You slip once, I'm snatching it all.
Lego.
Step in if you dare. Hit hard like a punch in the air. Ain't no rules, no plan, no script. Yeah. One wrong move, get cooked real quick. No cap, no shield. No. Better know your stuff or you get revealed. Step in, don't you wanna? Sparring with Santana. Step in, yeah, you care. Hit hard like a punch in the air. Ain't no rules, no plan, no script. One wrong move, get cooked real quick. No cap, no shield. Better know your stuff or you get revealed. Step in, don't you wanna?
Sparring with Santana.
Yeah, this ain't your safe place.
It is not.
This is flame.
Yes, it is.
And don't you wanna? Sparring with Santana.
Bana. Guys, welcome in. This is Sparring with Santana. One-on-one debates with Trump supporters. If you're a Trump supporter, get in the box. If you're someone that currently supports Donald Timothy Trump, get in the box, because as Hector would say, you are the demographic that we would like to speak with. But get in the box. We're only looking for some debates. And again, please do not request up if you are not a Trump supporter. We're not talking to friendlies. If you're friendly, tap the screen, share the live, do all the wonderful things to let TikTok know we're in the building.
What's up, man? How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. McKevin, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wonderful. McKevin, I genuinely thank you for coming up, because I'm really interested in people like you and your life and what's happening. But before I go there, would you mind if I ask you a super simple question?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you know who I am?
Do I know who you are? No, I do not know who you are.
Okay, cool. That's
just
fair.
Go up to my For You page.
You know what? That's perfectly fair. I appreciate that. With that being said, then, would you mind if I give you just a quick introduction to who I am and what this is?
Yes, sir. Go for it.
Perfect. Give me one moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this? Guys, welcome in. This is Sparring with Santana. Excusez-moi. One-on-one debate with Trump supporters. If you're a Trump supporter, get in the box. If you're someone that supports Donald Timothy Trump, get in the box. We're only looking for some debates. If you are not a Trump supporter, please do not request up. If you're friendly, tap the screen, share the live. Let's get the likes up to 10,000 likes. Also, hey, repost the live as well. It helps, apparently. All right, McKevin, now, you sound like a fairly younger man. Would I be wrong to think that you're in your early 20s?
I'm 20 years old, exactly. So you are not wrong.
Yeah, you sound like a younger man. Listen, youth and vitality. You have the entire world ahead of you. I do have a question though, because you are a young man of a certain age and you support Trump. Did that make it hard for you over the holidays, like over this, Thanksgiving, Christmas, going into the New Year's? Has that been tough?
No, not really, actually. I wouldn't say so, no.
Okay. Do you guys not talk about politics in your family?
Not necessarily. I mean, my parents are kind of also foreign immigrants, so from Brazil.
Really?
Yeah.
And okay, so what's their premise? Thank you for the gloves. What up, Swan? What's their premise? Do they support Trump as well, or do they know? Are you a closeted Trumpy?
No, I'm not a closeted Trumpy. My parents are immigrants who came here the right way, and they are Trump supporters as well.
That's interesting. Okay. So I have a couple of different reasons why I think, Donald Trump canceled Christmas, why he made it really hard for a lot of people over the holidays. But I would love to hear your premise, because I know I don't want to pigeonhole you into a conversation. I do want to find out then, why do you still support Trump today?
Well, I would say one of my main reasons that I support Trump over Kamala Harris is that he's more for one of my standpoints, the strongest standpoints I would say is he's more for legalizing abortions. He's more towards pro-life choice rather than Kamala Harris. So I feel like that's one of my stronger points in why I support him. I mean, I would also say it's impossible to fix the world in 1 year. No president has ever done that. So,
yeah, that's absolutely a fair statement. Listen, one thing that you'll learn about me is I'm not one of those libbies that just, like, oh, why hasn't he done this and that? Like I am like, hey, why hasn't he done certain stuff that he said he was going to do? But I'm not expecting him to change the world within a year. I do have a couple of questions though. So going back to your stance on abortion, is that rooted in your religious belief, in your secular belief? Like, what's your moral compass?
Not necessarily. I would definitely say that some of it obviously when I talk to a lot of we'll bring out atheists and liberals as well. They would always, the first thing they point to is that a religious, are you in that stance because of a religious belief? And I would say it's kind of 50-50. I mean, I would say that some of it obviously is because of my religion, correct? So yeah, I would say.
Well, I would say you get your morality from religion, or where do you get your morality from?
We can say that in a sense, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and again, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit more about your premise when it comes to abortion. Is it that do you believe in exceptions? Like, are you just tell me a little bit about your thoughts.
How do I put this to you? I mean, obviously, whenever I speak to people about this, they always bring up the great factor, and I'm not necessarily sure the exact percentage, but I saw an article where it was like 1.765 of women who get raped get abortion. So I feel like the great factor in saying that that's an exception is kind of silly, because pointing to that article, a lot of women who don't really get abortion. So bringing up that factor is kind of silly to me. So besides that, I would say in my standpoint, I would have no exceptions.
Okay. So no exceptions for you. Got it. Last but not least, just trying to understand, no, this isn't the last question. I'll have more questions. With your premise as far as abortion, would you get behind a nationwide abortion ban?
I wouldn't necessarily say I would go full on like that. I mean, I have my own personal opinion on it, and obviously people have the same opinion as me, but I wouldn't go further than that. I would keep it how I view it to myself. Like I said, as a Christian, I don't care what you do, live your life. Obviously, I would want you to know who the true father is, but I would never force anything on anybody. Like you said, a national, none of that. I wouldn't really do that. I would just kind of keep it to myself. Yeah, not really. I wouldn't say
So wait, are you saying that you would let people make their own decisions about abortion?
Correct. In my view, yeah. I would never force
So you're pro-choice?
I wouldn't say I'm pro-choice, no. That's me saying to other people. But in my view, it's no, I'm not pro-choice, I'm pro-life.
Well, yeah, you say that, but even though you hold a personal stance, which your personal stance is absolutely yours, but your premise as far as letting other people make their own decisions. That's all the pro-choice stance is, right? It's not saying that people have to get abortions. It's saying that people get to make their own decisions about whether or not they want to have abortions.
I'm saying that like to a woman, a random woman. Yeah, go do what you want to do, but the right way is not to get an abortion. You're basically telling me that like I'm trying to force someone to, okay, yeah, don't freaking do that or don't do that. Like,
right. That's pro-life. Pro-life is forcing people to have to not be able to have abortion. So you're pro-choice.
I wouldn't say that, no, because I'm against abortions all 9 months.
I mean, but you can personally be that, but you're not against people making their own personal decisions. So you're pro-choice.
I wouldn't say that, no. You're saying the way you're saying it is because I'm not.
It's making you feel icky. I know.
Not necessarily.
You're a whole flaming Libby, bub. I mean, like again, everyone. So personally, for me, I've never talked about my personal perspective when it comes to whether or not I'm pro or against abortions. I don't talk about like abortions personally.
Are you scared to say it, or you just don't like saying it?
No, because I believe the same thing that you believe. People should be able to make their own decisions. I don't want to dictate to anyone what they can, do.
If you believe what I believe, then you'll be pro-life as well, then, because you would think it's wrong. Because you said you believe what I believe, and I said that it was wrong as well.
No. When I say you believe in what I believe, is that you believe that people should be able to make their own decisions, and that's all pro-choice is. Well, like the only way that you can hold a true pro-life stance is if you say that not only do you not believe in abortions, but you would be good with an abortion ban, because that would mean you want to restrict people from being able to access abortions. No,
correct. Yes, I would. You were saying that would I go on like a national and do all this? I'm for banning abortion, like I said.
That's why I said, okay, and that's why I said, do you agree with the national abortion ban? And you said no.
I thought you said, would I like be into it? Oh, no, I agree with it. Correct. I'm probably misheard you.
So you would be good with
I would agree
not having access to abortions.
Correct.
Okay. All right. All right. So now that changes the conversation. And so, yeah, you see where the symmetry breaker was, right?
Yeah. I guess I misunderstood you.
Okay. A couple of quick questions as well.
Not pro-choice chat, but cool.
How many months is a woman pregnant?
9.
No. Okay. How many holes does a woman have below the belt?
I think it's 3. Yeah.
Okay. How many days out of a 30-day period can a woman get pregnant?
I don't know that.
Approximately.
I would say like I don't know that, to be honest. I don't. I won't sit here and lie to you.
Okay.
I can change the way I view it, though. I feel like I don't gotta know. That doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. Where does pregnancy start within a woman?
Like, are you talking about conception? Like, or what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm confused. Like, what you're asking. I would say it starts at conception. At conception, no?
No. Where in the woman's body? If you're swiping out to Google it, like I'm just getting a baseline understanding of your questions, I'll tell you the answer. You don't have to Google it. You can come back in, McKevin. McKevin, you have to come back into the screen in order to actually, for me to hear you, for you to hear us. Yeah, Popcorn did get a 30-day ban. He didn't have access to the platform. I just refreshed that. Oh, he ran. Darn it. I did not even get a chance to get into the debate. Well, dagnammit. Shucks. Guys, if you don't mind, tap the screen, share the live. The gift goals have been, the gifting has been suspended for 10 minutes. I don't know why, whatever. But keep tapping the screen, share the live. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Guys, please do not request up if you are not a Trump supporter. We are not talking to friendlies. We are only looking for some debates. Only looking for some debates. I don't think I am. I think it's just like, my sinuses. I think it's just my sinuses. Let's see. I don't know if Lisa's gonna load. Hi, Satan. Are you a Trump supporter?
No, we've spoken a couple times before. I was on Carbon's live.
Oh, I thought that was who? What's going on?
Hey, I don't want to intrude. If you don't want me to do it, I won't say anything. I'm trying to do a little bit of an aid stream tonight for a person in our community that needs a little bit of help. Carbon is going to be there, and I'm just trying to spread a little bit of awareness.
Shoot me some information about it, and I'll get back to you. Just shoot me a DM. Even here, send it to my backup. I'll drop it here, and I'll look at it, and then we can go from there. I got
you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you. Hi, Joseph. Are you a Trump supporter?
Play Farm Sim, Santana?
I should have known. Guys, only request up if you're a Trump supporter. Only request up if you're a Trump supporter. We are only looking for some debates. There are people in the box. I think these people may be friendlies. So please be aware. Only request up if you are a Trump supporter. Popcorn.
Finally, it's been like 3 months since the 30 days, man.
3 months. It's been like 30 days. Stop it.
No, it's been like 3 months. You know it.
It literally hasn't. Cut it out, Popcorn. Popcorn. How's your holidays been?
Well, it's been wonderful. Got a lot of presents, and our commander in chief is Donald J. Trump. So yeah, it's been a good year.
And Popcorn, did your family disavow you over the holidays?
No, in fact, we all embraced each other, and which is what families do. Even though some of us have a difference in political opinions, I think it's been a great year.
I'll give you Popcorn. Hold on a second. Mafia Babe, are you a Trump supporter? Mafia Babe, are you a Trump supporter?
Oh, I'm sorry, Santana. I'm in the shower. I didn't even know I requested up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Wow.
Give me 2 seconds, Popcorn. I got a couple of thank yous, and then we're going to get into it. W's in the chat for Michael for the 20. Michael sent a $20 donation saying, always love your live debate streams. I appreciate the work you put into the backgrounds and validating sources with topics. Also, am I the only one who gets hyped when you drop in your intro and crack the drink? Much love, friend. Something that people don't realize, the reason why I crack the can open every time, because it's me opening up a can of whoop ass. And it's also like a homage to how Lil Wayne used to have like the lighter strike before every mixtape song. Anyway, Debbie's in the chat. Thank you so much for the 20. Debbie's in the chat for Amanda. Thank you so much for the $1 donation. Finally, a member of Late Night Tubers. I see that. Debbie's in the chat for you. Thank you for becoming a member of Late Night Tubers. Trying to get into Discord, but I keeps telling me invalid link. I just reset that link. Okay, I'll reset it, Amanda, and I'll make sure that you can get in. Debbie's in the chat for Amanda. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for becoming a Late Night Tuber, guys. If anyone else would like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Pay links and Linktree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. Best way to support the live. Everything's accepted and things appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat, and I will read that out, guys. Keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. All right, Popcorn. Hey, so you said that your family didn't like go excommunicado on you over the holidays, and that's super interesting. Like, hey, what did you think about Jimothy doing an actual military strike on Christmas. How did that make you feel?
I think going after the T group there in Nigeria kind of sounded like it was Trump's Christmas gift to the Nigerian Christians who have been facing a G-side there in Nigeria, and so it seemed like a Christmas gift to those Christians on ground. So, brought to you by Santa Trump. Anyway, did you figure out that NVIDIA was an American company?
Hey, Popcorn, swipe out for a second, and then back in. You got an echo. Good morning, guys. Sorry, I just took I don't eat breakfast before I go live, so I had a sandwich and I just took a bite of the sandwich. So my bad. Popcorn.
So is that better? Did you figure out that?
Yeah. It sounds better. Hey,
NVIDIA is in fact an American company.
I said that. Anyway, Popcorn, I want to actually talk about what you just said. So you said that it was a Christmas gift to the Christians in Nigeria. Hey, Popcorn, are we good again with being the police of the world? Like, because I know Republicans have kind of flip-flopped on that position. So just trying to understand, like, is that our jam again now, or what are we doing?
No, see, as a combat veteran, I can say I've said it for years that I personally and my fellow soldiers are tired of the American military being used as a worldwide police force, and as long as he doesn't get us into any WARs, I think airstrikes are not something that I'm opposed to. As long as you don't put like boots on the ground and have like a campaign that we saw in Afghanistan and Iraq, unjustly Iraq. So yeah.
Well, Popcorn, Donald Trump saying that's exactly what he's planning to do. Like we understand the actual boat strikes. He's also talking about land strikes within Venezuela. He said he's not ruling out boots on the ground in Venezuela and also Afghanistan because he wants to take the airbase back. At the same time, yes, he's striking groups in Syria and now in Nigeria. We're still supporting Ukraine. And then let's not forget that we have to ensure that we are protecting Taiwan. I mean, like that's been a long-standing precedence of the United States. And even like Japan is gearing up in order to be able to stop China if they actually try to invade. Like they just approved their largest military budget ever. So like it sounds like he's pretty much setting up for war across the board.
Well, I wouldn't say it's Trump that's doing it. I would say that the powers that be in Russia and China and Venezuela and other countries around the world are gearing up to fight a military engagement. If you take a look at China's production of military warships, I think that it's them that's starting it, and we're just, I guess, matching energy, if you will. So, yeah, we're just being reactive instead of proactively seeking WAR.
What's reactive with the position that you have an echo. Looks Max, how are you? Did I talk to you yesterday or because
before yesterday, I think.
Okay, because there was someone that came up yesterday and they said it was you that I was talking to.
No, not at all. Some people, like that I said, right? Some people are doxers. They take my profile from my Instagram.
This is the guy that I was talking to yesterday. Stop it.
Well,
when Dean came up.
Oh yeah, it was me. But people have
on a different account.
I think my private. But yeah, people have my profile for some reason.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you a question about Ukraine. Do you think we should keep funding them?
Yes.
But
Donald Trump does as well.
Yeah, Donald Trump, Biden funds them. But the thing is, do you think they're going to take back their land or not?
Well, I have to see what's happening. I know as of yesterday, apparently Kyiv was being struck, and I haven't had opportunity to see what the recent developments were. I do believe that Donald Trump, in his constant back and forth and like his platitudes to Putin has given Russia more of a footing when it comes to trying to take Ukraine. I would have to see what the fallout was of yesterday of Kyiv being attacked.
Yeah, because I checked the stats, right, and it says that since 2023, 2022, when Russia set foot in Ukraine land, they took 27%, right? Then Ukraine was able to take back 9% of that, and now now Russia's back at 19.2% of their territory. So it has been like this for the past 2 years, right? So if we keep funding it, are we technically just funding the war and not trying to end the war, though? Because what Trump is doing, I appreciate that, he had a meeting with Putin and he has tried to make peace plans, but people and, and Zelensky aren't willing to accept the peace plans.
Yeah. So what it looks like is the fact that us supporting Ukraine is an obligation due to the Budapest Memorandum. But more than anything, it's similar to a proxy war, not exactly a proxy war, but we're utilizing Ukraine to continue to weaken Russia, which is not a bad thing. Two birds, one stone or whatever. But the issue is like the inconsistency that's occurred under the Trump administration. And so while Ukraine has made gains, they've lost out because of Donald Trump's back and forth. He's very much lukewarm on his position with Ukraine. Sometimes he's full-throated in the support. Other times he's pulling back and not really supporting. And that's causing the issues and inconsistency as far as Ukraine being able to make accurate strides within the war with Russia.
Yeah, and I heard that the deal that was I think introduced by Trump or something, it has a 20-point peace plan, right? That
28-point.
28 points. So basically, Ukraine has to give out 20% of their land, right?
I would have to go look at the exact 28-point plan. But you know why I don't know much about it and why I didn't even look into it that much?
Because you don't want Ukraine to lose land.
That ain't even it.
Why? Because it's Russia?
Pretty much, yeah. No. So it came out and it was verified that apparently the Trump administration actually got that 28-point peace plan directly from Russia. Like the plan was drawn up by Russia and they just gave it to Ukraine. Like they didn't make any changes. They didn't actually draft it themselves. Like Marco Rubio actually admitted that it came directly from Russia.
Yeah, so if it came directly from Russia, we have to do changes to it. And I think that's what they're doing. I hope they're doing that, right? Because we don't want to give.
They literally gave it to Ukraine. And that's how it was found out within the international community that it was just an accepted peace plan from Ukraine. I'm sorry, from Russia to Ukraine.
I heard that it gives NATO a 20-year NATO membership, right? Ukraine gives them a NATO membership or not? So what do you think Ukraine, because I know this war has been going on for the past 100 years or more, but
what?
Like they have had, like arguments, right? Ukraine and Russia.
It hasn't been going on for the last 100 years. I mean, yeah, the entire area has been kind of in upheaval since the split of the USSR. And ever since then, Russia has been trying to reestablish it. Specifically, Vladimir Putin has said that his main goal is to reestablish the greatness of the USSR. But that's been the actual back and forth point. So not 100 years. Yeah, he's absolutely thinking about what's going on in Israel. That's another G side.
So I think Putin, why he attacked Ukraine was because them wanted to join NATO, right? And they don't want NATO to expand. Do you think that's the reason, Hon?
I think that it could be a reason, but the issue with that is like if Putin stopped trying to invade countries, countries would stop trying to join NATO. Like the biggest reason that NATO exists is to fight other countries that are trying to overtake countries, and specifically superpowers, right? Russia has a nuclear arsenal and they're forcibly trying to take countries. So if Russia stopped trying to take countries, people stop trying to join NATO. Like that's the biggest factor.
Yeah, but when you say the Western world has encroached on Russians' area,
No.
So like talks about joining NATO and stuff like that when it's inching over towards Russia. You don't think that they would see that as a threat?
Mm-mm.
No? Oh, that's odd.
No, and the reason being is because, like I said, if Russia stopped threatening to take over other countries, then there wouldn't be a need for NATO to continue to grow. That's the problem.
Right, but they wouldn't be doing that if they didn't feel like NATO is inching closer to Russia and then going into Ukraine, like the Open Society, backed by George Soros, and then the whole Orange Revolution and all that stuff back in between 2010 and 2014.
You're not going to do the misinformation on.
No, it's not misinformation. It's
you're
facts.
Talking about support of Soros and all that. Whatever, Popcorn. We're not going to do that. Popcorn. Who?
I mean, I got addresses
has
there on ground in Ukraine. I got addresses of these facilities.
Sure. What country has the most land mass within the world?
Oh, either Russia or China. Yeah,
Russia. Russia has the most landmass for a country, and you're talking about them encroaching on other countries. They're not. Like, their borders haven't been breached. No one's trying to take Russian land. Russia has what Russia has, but they don't like the threat of NATO being in their area because they know for a fact that they want to take more land. That's the problem.
Well, again, why give them a reason? You know that you're dealing with a madman, so why give a madman a reason to go into a place like Georgia or Ukraine or Poland? Yeah,
I think when you sit here and you talk about the actual pressing or the trying to trying to pacify a dictator, like, that doesn't work. Like, literally, that's what led to World War II. People trying to kowtow to these dictators and saying, well, if we just don't make them mad, it'll be okay. Like, it doesn't work that way. You have to be strong, especially when you talk about these dictatorial regimes. You have to let them know, like, hey, we're not going to allow you to just run rampant and do whatever you want. So I completely agree with them standing and saying, like, hey, if Russia's going to try to continue to expand their reach, then we're just going to continue to fortify the other countries that's near its borders.
So if that happened here in America, wouldn't you think that we have a right to fight back, if you will? Like when Russia had big pew-pews over in Cuba, and then JFK was president. Do you think that was a rightful action?
Yeah, I think that when you talk about the U.S., if there's other countries, like if all of a sudden the United States became a dictatorial country, which, Donald Trump wanted to say that to be an authoritarian, but I digress. If it was a situation where they were actually trying to actively spread, fascism or become an authoritarian, grabbing additional land, and these other countries stood against us, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. It's the point that I'm trying to get across is that Russia is actively trying to steal land and spread their actual empire, I guess you can call it. And that's not what's supposed to happen. Like, Ukraine is a sovereign country. The other countries around Poland, that's a sovereign country. Ukraine can't just take those countries. I'm sorry, I keep saying Ukraine. Russia can't just take those countries. Holy shit, sorry.
Right. So when organizations like the International Renaissance Foundation.
Hold on a second. Look, Max, what are you showing?
The fact, like the things I'm showing you is that why is NATO all over Russia? Like, they're all over their borders, but like if you go down, there's no NATO countries.
Yeah, again.
And that's what Russia is doing. They don't want NATO to expand, and it's actually expanding. Like, look.
It's not expanding. The actual point, one of the biggest things about NATO is, even though, yes, it is an actual alliance of countries and they're supposed to have each other's back in multiple situations, one of the biggest roles of NATO currently is being a deterrent of Russia. So you're going to see that actual, you're going to see those countries who are aligned, but it hasn't been expanded. And at no point has anyone offered Ukraine membership to NATO. I think they should. but they haven't.
Okay. Because I think that's the primary reason on why Putin is mad. Because I heard I heard Ukraine and their appetite to join NATO back then.
Ukraine definitely wants to join NATO because they fear the actual threat of Russia continuing to try to take land. Like even Zelensky has openly talked about any peace agreement that he would agree to would have to have some type of security assurances to make sure that Russia isn't going to reinvade. And if they do, then the U.S. would have to come to their aid. Like that's his whole thing. They don't mind going with a peace agreement, but they do want some security assurances, and Russia doesn't want them to have those security assurances. Russia doesn't want them to be able to have any U.S. troops in Ukraine, and they want them to actually sign an agreement that they will not join NATO ever. Like that's a whole thing, and also. Part of that 28-point plan, they wanted them to dismember pieces of their military to weaken their military overall. Like, why would they want that?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, obviously they care about their country, right? And I understand what Zelensky and he wants security, right? In the plan, but the thing is that if we keep funding the war, can I say that word?
Yeah, you can say.
If they keep funding the war, the percentage of the military personnel, Ukraine is losing more, right? In 5 years, if this keeps going, Ukraine will suffer more than Russia.
Thanks for the SpongeBob. Yeah, I mean, and I agree, right? But see, the issue comes again as far as like Donald Trump and his overall support of Ukraine. If he would have actually just stuck to what Joseph Robinette Biden was doing prior to leaving office, then Ukraine would be in a better position now. Like I blame Joe Biden as well for holding back on some of the military provisions that he signed off on to support Ukraine. But like Donald Trump at one moment said that he pulled the intelligence from Ukraine, but then he turns around and he green lights like Tomahawk missiles after saying that he wasn't going to do it. Like that it's a whole thing. The back and forth wishy-washiness has kept this war going longer than it should.
So yeah, I blame both presidents, to be honest, because they're doing things to stop the war, but at the same time they're not doing I think that Trump could do more, and I think like Biden could have done more to actually stop the war before it even started, because when Russia was
this all started in 2014.
Yeah, but when did they set foot on Ukraine?
Actually,
or 13? Wait, I thought they annexed Crimea in 14.
Well, 2013 is when Yanukovych rejected the EU deal and embraced the Russian deal, which caused these uprisings and the revolution of dignity in Ukraine, which essentially caused all of this. So it's meddling from the West that really caused all of what we see today. So yeah, this started in 2013.
But their massive invasion was in 2022, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an escalation of tension since then.
Yeah, and I feel like why was Biden? Because I remember those days when it was all over the news, right, everywhere. I remember that those days, Biden will go out and I think he will go out in interviews and like shit on Putin and saying that he better not, and that if he does it, he will suffer a lot. Like if we know that Russia is a big country and they have the capability to I guess destroy us, why not be friends with them?
Well, because again, you're dealing with a dictator, right? I mean, it's not a necessity to be friends with them because it's not like Russia is someone who is out here preaching peace or even wants peace. Like Putin is not only someone who has unalived his political opponents, he's an international war crime. He has international warrants out for his arrest. And he is someone who just wants to continue to strengthen and grow his country. And that's a negative thing.
Did Putin ever have a war in the United States or no?
Yeah, I'm sure he did because the U.S. is part of NATO.
So, Santana, I got a question. If I walked up to you and touched you on the arm, and me being me, you don't like me, and then you say, "Don't touch me," or I'm gonna knock you out, and then I touched you again, and then you struck me and knocked me out, would that be justified?
Say it one more time.
If I came up to you and touched you, and you said, "Do not touch me, popcorn, or I'm gonna knock you out," and then I touched you again, just because I can, and then you knock me out, would that be justified?
If you put your hands on me, and I tell you don't put your hands on me, and you do it again, and then I knock you out.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I believe in personal space.
Okay, then the same thing is going on with Russia here. It's the same exact thing.
Okay. Tell me how.
Because when you touch them
how? Do you mean
metaphorically speaking?
That would be touching them like a military strike in your example.
But no,
if you're saying touching them in the sense that like, oh, they're in other countries that surround them, well, that's not touching them. That metaphorically speaking in your example would be you coming and standing near me. Like that's not you touching me.
And then
no, address that, popcorn.
But it's the same thing.
It's not
the same thing.
Why do you give everyone nicknames?
Well, that's his name.
That's her name?
Yeah, the legendary popcorn.
Because he's always getting cooked. Anyway,
right. Not by you.
Yeah, whatever. So, like your actual your premise, it's not one that would be the same.
Well, I disagree. I think that when you start meddling in people's regions like that in a way is touching them. It's the way I see it. Like if Russia came over and took over Canada and then made it pro-Russian, wouldn't we be bothered by that as a country? Wouldn't you say, what you're kind of encroaching on our bubble here? I don't like it. Mm-hmm. So it's essentially the same thing. You don't have to do a military strike to classify it as touching. But it's the same thing. It's getting involved in geopolitics, and it's the same thing. Yeah. We went over there and we touched them because we're in their region, and now they're striking back. So really, the West caused this or helped cause this. I'm not saying that the West is completely at fault for it, but when you poke the bear and this happens, then, I mean...
Yeah, again, your example doesn't equate because touching them would be any type of actual military action, any type of strikes or, crossing the border. Your point is that they have people in the area and they don't feel comfortable. Again, if Russia doesn't feel comfortable with NATO being in the area because Russia has intentions to invade other countries. Like that's what it boils down to.
Or they're afraid that the United States will invade them.
Yeah.
It can play both.
The United States is going to invade Russia.
It can play either side, dude. I mean, as a country, as Putin, he probably thinks that, the United States in the future, if they keep expanding, the United States might, invade them because Russia is a big, great country.
Okay. Again, the premise that we have right now is Russia has been encroaching and been aggressive towards other countries and has been adamant and even stoking the flames with, inferring that they're reestablishing the USSR, even when Putin came to Alaska to meet with Trump, one of Putin's closest confidants and advisors showed up in a USSR sweater, right? So they're literally actually trying to infer that like, hey, we're going to do this thing. We're going to come back, blah, 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 blah. I want to get to this understanding like, well, popcorn's gone now, but both you guys are up here and for whatever reason, you guys have been like caping for Russia. I'm really trying to understand that one.
No, what I'm trying to tell you is that, if we keep funding this war, I like in some way we are fighting against Russia, right? We're fighting against their technology. Mm-hmm. So if we keep fighting against the second or third country with the most powerful military, and a lot of people are losing their life because of a war that should have never been started, and there has to be a stop to this. And if you have to lose land for it, then you have to lose land for it, but you have to stop it. I mean, it's common sense.
Yeah, I don't think so. And again, like you sitting here saying that this country has to give up their land. I mean, would you allow someone to walk in your house and just say, oh, you know what? This kitchen is nice. I own this kitchen now.
No, but the difference is that it's a person, right? I'm talking about a country. I have a question for you. Do you think that Ukraine, without help from all these people or all these countries, do you think they will be able to, hold their ground or not?
No. But I also don't think they should have to, because like literally, even with the Budapest Memorandum, Russia signed that as well, right? It was an agreement that was established between Ukraine, Russia, the United States, and other countries as well. And that's the point. And so the reason, did you know that Ukraine used to be the largest nuclear powerhouse? Like they had more nukes than Russia. Did you know that?
No, and how did they make them, or like did they?
Because they were a part of the USSR, and so yeah, they had more nuclear weapons than Russia. And again, a part of the Budapest Memorandum was giving up their nuclear arsenal, and in exchange, if Russia attacked, then the United States and other countries would come and help defend them. So, like, that's the thing. Like Ukraine literally made this agreement to actually willingly give up the nuclear missiles, and in turn, Russia is not supposed to be infringing on their border, but they're doing it.
Okay, so I want other people to come and debate you, but to come into a conclusion, do you think if we keep funding it, do you think they're able to take back their land or not?
Again, I think it's going to depend on the premise that Donald Trump takes. Either Donald Trump is going to cede power, land, and all of these things to Russia, or he's going to actually back our ally the way that he's supposed to. The problem is he's being indecisive. Like that's the big problem.
Well, I mean, we're still funding them in a way, right? We're getting instead we're getting the money reimbursed by NATO, and the thing is, like, I value life more than land, right? For example, talking about the military population that they have, Russia has way more personnel, right, than Ukraine. And the thing is, if they keep fighting a war for 4 to 5 more years, who's going to lose more? Talking about percentage wise.
Wait, say your question again.
So if Russia and Ukraine keep fighting, right, and let's say, for example, Russia loses 100,000 more military personnel, and Ukraine loses like 70,000. Talking about percentage-wise, though, who's going to lose more military personnel?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the loss of life, in which loss of life on both sides is unacceptable. But you talk about the loss of life that's possibly going to occur on the Ukrainian side is going to be greater. I get that, but also know for a fact that Russia has reached a point where they're fighting to actually survive in multiple ways. And the reason why I say that is because they had to actually accept 15,000 troops from North Korea. Right? Yeah. They're literally importing troops now to help keep their army afloat. And so
that's another thing
that Russia's pretended they have, we're seeing that they don't actually have that.
So that's another thing that I have, because I remember that, Kim Jong-un sent like 15,000 people over there. And why don't we do the same thing? I know that, it'll probably cost WWE.
Why don't we send U.S. soldiers?
Or not U.S., but why don't people, let's say, why doesn't Mexico or someone send them soldiers or something?
Yeah, because that would literally incite the additional violence. So, like, that's what we're talking about. Hey, Hector, can you come up for a second? Do you have a moment? I see you're listening. Would you be able to come up just for a minute? Yeah, it would actually incite more violence for them to do so versus what it would look like if we don't put boots on the ground. Hey, Hector, do you have a minute?
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, can you talk to Look Max just for a moment? I got to step away just for a half a second.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right. Look, Zach, I'm going to leave you with Hector just for a minute.
All right. So I spoke to him yesterday. I think he was on Joey's panel. You seem to have a lot of questions about these things. I guess I'm a little confused. You have a lot of questions, but then you also seem to have a bunch of firm stances. Where do you lean politically?
I'm like in the middle, but if you ask me who I voted for Trump, but I'm always in the middle. Like I can vote for whoever is better in my own opinion, right? I have to wait until the midterms.
How does one in the middle vote for Trump? I want you to elaborate on that.
So what I mean by being in the middle, I'm a conservative. So like I can either, go left or right. It depends on who is better for me, in my opinion.
Well, conservatives wouldn't be in the middle. That would be right, correct?
Well, I guess I'm a conservative now, but I'm in the middle. Like I told you, like I can change my mind. I'm 19. It's not like I'm in a cult or I'm in a political party.
Well, it's not about being able to change your mind and grow with opinions, although I would challenge that growth. It's the fact that you said you're a conservative. So that's firmly planting your feet on one side.
Okay, never mind. I misspoke. I'm in the middle, and you know what I mean by that, right?
Okay, so it sounds like you're allegedly in the middle, but conservative leaning.
Yeah, I guess because of the last elections, sure.
Because of the last election. If you were to give me two big reasons why you voted for Trump over Kamala Harris, what would they be?
National security and peace through strength.
National security and peace through strength. What about Donald Trump screams national security to you?
The fact that he doesn't want, these votes to come, through the Mexico border, because they will obviously stop somewhere, right? They're not going to make the whole way out to Florida from the Caribbeans. But he doesn't want, substances coming in through the border or people coming in through the border the wrong way. So,
are you under the belief that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did?
I mean, they technically did have an open border policy.
Define an open border.
An open border is when you let people coming in the country and, for example, people that want to claim asylum and didn't come in through a port of entry and they have a year to claim asylum.
According to U.S. law, you don't have to come to a port of entry to claim asylum. But by your logic, the Afghan national who unalived one of our 2 National Guard servicemen that was actually approved asylum by the Trump administration, would you then say that he had an open border?
No, because my question to that will be the root cause of this, right? Why was he here in the first place?
Why was he here? Because in the first place, I believe he was one of the individuals who came over from the war that we had over there for the last decade. He was working alongside the CIA. And then inevitably, we had the increase of the Afghan nationals that came here through the refugee asylum.
And who created that refugee asylum or whatever?
It was not created by any one president. The numbers just changed depending on the presidency. It was increased under the Biden administration.
Okay, so it was increased, so he had a higher chance to come into the country, right?
That's something hard to pin down. You can argue by the numbers, more people had a higher chance. It would be hard to say that.
Well, I'm talking about an individual. If the number was higher, that means they have a higher chance,
based off of him being an individual, because again, his circumstances are vastly different from everyone else. Afghan nationals had a higher chance of getting into the country overall. I cannot speak specifically on him.
So are you talking about the Operations Allies Welcome in 2021?
Yes, I believe in part the initial increase was 60-something thousand and then total up to 125.
But who created that though?
I'm unaware of who created it specifically. Because
Joe Biden created it. And so he's in the country because who let him in the country?
The reason why that would not hold up, because the Afghan pullout, remember, was started and planned under the Trump administration, and it was passed down to the Biden administration. Biden's just the one who finished it. Okay, so that program to include more Afghan nationals here would have been bipartisan. The amount we would have allowed could be debated, but it would still be bipartisan.
Okay, and do you think what Biden did with the pullout, do you think it was a great pullout?
Of course, it wasn't a great pullout, but he got it done.
Well, he got it done, but, American people lost their life, right?
Yeah, he did the best he could do with the circumstances that was, with the situation that was handed to him. Everyone wants to say he did a terrible job, but
That was, I mean, everyone knows that was a terrible pullout. And my thing is, if this guy was let in through Operation Allies Welcome in 2021, right, created by President Joe Biden, if you said so, who's at fault? Because if this guy had a clean record, even if he had a clean record, but was let in, okay. So, you know, since this guy had a clean record, who was the person that let him in the country? That's the thing, right? It's like saying an immigrant has a clean record, but they're immigrants in this country, and they go ahead and, you know, pew 20 people.
Again, you're completely leaving out the fact that it was Trump's plan that Biden finished. You're leaving out the fact that the refugee program that you're referencing, despite what name was on it, existed prior to the Biden administration, and Afghan nationals would have came over here regardless. You're also ignoring the fact that his status was up for renewal, and then that was accepted in March or May of 2025 by the Trump administration. So if he was such a threat, he was such a problem, you wanted him out, especially upon Donald Trump canceling the applications of asylum claimees, banning certain countries for the risk of terrorism, so on and so forth, then he could have simply revoked his status. The Trump administration did not do that, as they did several 100,000 other people, Haitians, Nicaraguans, so on and so forth. They renewed it. So the problem with this argument is that if it was such a threat, it was such a bad thing, why did the Trump administration let it happen? So this is a ridiculous thing to try and put on Biden. The whole point of me going down this hole with you is that this man's asylum claim was approved by the Trump administration because asylum is a legal process and he had a clean record. So by that logic, did Donald Trump also have an open border?
Not at all, because this guy was already in the country. It wasn't like he came in through Trump's administration. You know what I mean? Like when I'm talking about,
then we can talk about Martinez Guzman, who in 2019 got in from the Trump administration, went on a 9 people unaliving spree, just yeeted a bunch of elderly people. By that logic, did he have an open border?
So this Martinez Guzman, did he? So are you talking about Wilbur, that guy?
Yes.
The El Salvadorian guy, right?
If I'm not mistaken, yes.
So he was let in through what? Like, did he just come in through the border without vetting process or something? What?
He came in through the Trump administration.
So, I mean, I don't know anything about this guy, but did he claim asylum or something?
No, he didn't. My argument is that he came in under the Trump administration and caused this crime. And then we had some legal ones that did cause a crime. I can't think of their names right now. The point I'm trying to get to here is that we have a process. The process vets people to the best of our ability. When that process goes through, we cannot make arguments against any president to say one had an open border, one had a closed border, when they're all following the law. And then we can't use the fact that this many people came through this administration, therefore their administration had an open border, if they were all following the exact same laws.
Okay, so you're talking about law. So asylum is a law, right? It's granted to people that deserve it, and you cannot take that.
I also gave an example of an undocumented migrant who came through both administrations.
And that guy isn't that guy like in prison forever? So I hope he rots in there. And
which then leads me to my next point. I think I asked you this.
Wait, I want to ask you something, because you said laws, right? Are executive orders laws?
No.
So was what was it called? Special. What did Biden create? The Operation Allies Welcome. Was that a law?
No.
So that was an executive order, right?
Yes, it was a directive specifically by
so
DHS.
Did he have to do that because it was a law, or did he do it because he wanted to?
He did it because he wanted to, because the pullout caused a lot of damage in the region. We can look at the same thing under the Trump administration. 6 days before he left Oval Office in 2021, we had a deferred something status. What was it?
Deferred action.
It was in regards to the Venezuelans and executive order he passed.
Their refugee status.
Yes, a DNDDFD, one of the D something D. And then he tried to blame those same Venezuelans when they came the whole nonsense into Colorado gangs taking over apartment buildings, and blame Biden. It's a common thing that Trump does. So again, presidents, Republican or Democrat, will pass orders and EOs and whatnot for refugees, for statuses here from immigrants in other countries. And sure, maybe sometimes, every now and then, some of them end up going on to commit crimes. The whole point is you don't get to fearmonger and put everything on one president or put everything on immigrants as if bad people don't exist across the board and as if those same immigrants, legal or undocumented, do not commit less crimes than the average American. If we're to do this whole thing about criminals, then we need to focus on the real issues, the big ones. And then you don't get to do that as you try not to or aggressively fight back against actually fixing the issue at the border.
Yeah, so the difference that I would say, right, is that Trump actually signed this, and it was to help illegal people in the country already, right? What the executive order that Biden passed was to let people come in the country. So those are two different things.
These people were heavily vetted. And a part of that program was also to renew statuses of people who are already here. It's the same thing. The point is these actions were passed, and it's not just because it wasn't just a blanket sign a piece of paper and then bam, everybody's legal. That's not how that works. We have to vet them.
So why did I see so many
benefits of like mass amnesty versus mass deportation, right? We get in, not only do we get people to come forward and we can properly vet them to ensure, you know, that they don't have a criminal history or background. Like that's literally one of the benefits of doing that.
So look, I searched up the vetting process, right, through the Operation Allies Welcome or whatever. It says that the U.S. did not have access to Afghan criminal or local records because of the Taliban took over the country.
Yeah, but in order to actually be a part of that anyway, you had to be someone working with the U.S. prior to them pulling out in Afghanistan. So we would have had a track record with them anyway. Like we would have already established that trust, that work history, and all of those things in order to be to actually be not accepted, but considered for that.
Precisely, as we did with the man who did what he did to the National Guardsmen. He was working with the CIA.
Okay, then. I mean, isn't that why, like, Trump is now, like, not letting these people come in, like, from Afghanistan? He banned them or something?
No, Trump isn't letting people work in because he wants to slow legal migration, period. Like that's been something he's been adamant about.
I think he froze it, right? It's not going to be forever. I think he has to, you know, resume migration into this country because migration has never been stopped because immigrants can come into the country.
It's literally paused or frozen indefinitely. It's Trump we're talking about. Unless a court stops it, it's literally whenever he decides to let up, they come back.
And again, like I said, he has been very adamant about slowing legal migration. Like that's why he's done multiple things that he's done, whether it's pulling refugee status, reducing the amount of people that they're allowing in for certain countries and prioritizing other people. Like Donald Trump has been adamant about wanting to, he's even like started pricing people out of being able to claim asylum. Like it's not about you know, undocumented immigrants. It's about slowing immigration into the country as a whole.
Yeah, he especially called, you know, people from, well, who did he call like trash? Or he said that those people are garbage. I don't like how he talks about other countries.
Puerto Rico, which that's not another.
Somalians, that's what he said. Somalian people are trash.
Oh, yeah. Which
I don't like when he talks.
I don't. The thing with the Somalians is like they're not even like refugees, or they're legally here. Literally. Like it's what
I didn't like what he said about that.
They want.
Yeah, like first, like I feel like for the two Afghans, for that Afghan that sadly took 2 lives of our National Guards, I feel like they're paying the price now because that guy is a monster.
Why?
Because he's a monster.
The price. No, you're missing the point. You went over the number of people, I think you did, the number of Afghan people who were allowed to come here under Operation whatever. One guy approved by this administration went and unalived those 2 people, and then everyone's paying the price. That's the problem with his broad approach. He makes everyone pay for the actions of a few. Mm-hmm. This isn't merit-based, or this isn't about legal immigration. It's about, I don't like them anyway because they're brown. Why not?
How you telling me? Like, it's like how Trump talks. That's the thing. I cannot defend him. He talks like I think he's like xenophobic. He has xenophobia on him or something.
Xenophobia,
but you guys,
yeah.
I mean, but he's also like a racist as well. I mean, like he's a sexist, he's a classist, he's a fascist. Like Donald Trump example is an example of like some of the worst things that America has to offer. So, yeah, I mean, of course, that's going to be baked into his policies and the people that he put in his administration. You have Stephen Miller writing so much of his policy, and Stephen Miller is like a white nationalist Nazi, right? I mean, and which is wild. People say, "Oh, he can't be that because he's Jewish." Yeah, exactly. Even more so, why it's wild. Like that's who you have writing the policies for the Trump administration.
So like, I don't know how to defend Trump no more.
Then don't. Like that's what we talked about the other day. Like we're at the point where you shouldn't be defending him anymore. You can openly sit here and say, you know what, I might not be a Democrat, but I'm not going to support what Donald Trump is doing. And you can stand up and put checks and balances in place. Like that's the problem. We need to have checks and balances when it comes to Donald Trump and the Trump administration. Even if you like agree with him being in power, you shouldn't agree with him being like all powerful.
Yeah, and I don't like how the government is weaponizing the Department of Justice. Like, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things I don't like. Like I said, I can change my mind, right? There's, like I said, I voted for him, and I'll stand on it. Like I have to say that I voted for him. Yeah. And there's things that I like, and there's things that I don't like. And when the midterms come, I can change my mind depending on the governor because I don't like the sound.
Exactly. And that's literally all we're saying. I've said this over and over and over, right? I don't care if a politician has a D, an R, or an I by their name. If they're not doing something beneficial for the American public, then they need to go. I don't care who they are. And that's the same premise and energy you should hold while you support the Republican Party as a whole. It shouldn't be, out of the realm of possibility of you holding them accountable. We just want MAGA to hold Donald Trump accountable.
Yeah, that's the difference, right? Between a Republican or someone in the middle rather than like MAGA. Because as MAGA supports him and defends him as a person, you know what I mean? And anyone with, morals and common sense knows that Trump is not a good person. But when you compare him as a president, some people will like him, especially the rich people, right?
Why isn't that the basis? The starting point for if we support someone or not is their moral character, because it seemingly always is when it comes to the Democratic side.
I think a lot of people voted for
Biden's relationship with his son, Kamala's relationship with Willie Brown or whoever else. That always is a focal talking point for the Republican Party. It starts with their character, often misconstrued where they don't know what they're talking about. And it always gets personal with them. But when it comes to Trump, it's about policy, as if he has any.
And you know what, Hector? Like, yeah, the Republican Party tends to try to force the Democratic Party to focus on the morality of their candidates, and which I like. And the Republican Party doesn't agree or doesn't worry at all about the morality of their candidates. I mean, hell, again, look at Donald Trump, but you can look at the way they've supported Marjorie Taylor Greene throughout her history and everything with her track record with her husband and the cheating and the CrossFit gyms and all the shit. Matt Gaetz, for the most part, with the people knowing within Congress, like the actual, drug abuse and, the kids and everything. And then Donald Trump even putting them up for AG. But then, they understand the people on the left tend to try to put candidates through like a purity test or whatever. I kind of lean towards the opposite where because I think morality is subjective. So I'm not going to say that like the candidate has to be morally upstanding, but they can't be morally bankrupt, right? They can't be someone who is, adjudicated rapist, 34 count felon, someone who apparently was present when a baby was thrown into Lake Michigan. Like, can't do those things.
And I'm looking at Mondami's stats right now, and apparently 78% of the voters of the age of 18 to 29 voted for him. And I feel like Kamala made a huge mistake because I like me, right? I was influenced by the people around me, and but by his the things he promised, and some things he hasn't kept, as promises, but like Kamala's digital strategy, like her way of campaigning through social media, I don't think it was as great as Donald Trump, because Donald Trump was in like everyone's podcast. And, I never saw Kamala doing a podcast with Joe Rogan or someone that's,
Well, okay. Give me 2 seconds. I want to read off a couple of thank yous, and then I want to address that directly because I feel like that's something that a lot of people lean on, but it seems like people. It always bothers me. People act like they don't understand like what's really happening. But give me a second. W's in the chat for Free. What up, Free? Who sent a $5 donation saying, "Cuz dealing with fake GS employees who can't get military service correct make you want to drink." I think that's when Popcorn was up here. W's in the chat. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. Free. W's in the chat for Janelle for the $1 donation saying everything Popcorn is spouting about Putin. Putin's usual Russian misinformation. Exactly. Popcorn is a Russian agent. I don't understand that one. It's annoying to keep hearing when it's been debunked time after time again. Exactly. I don't understand why they repeat the same things that have already been addressed. W's in the chat for MAGA Christ, who sent a $2 donation saying, "These clowns glazing a dictator like Putin just shows you how far the country has fallen." I don't understand the people that are like Russian sympathizers. I don't get it. But yeah, W's in the chat for MAGA Christ. W's in the chat for Sean, who sent a $5 super chat to say, "MAGAs who lie about who and what they are insufferable. Dude is lying about being a centrist." They were talking to you, Look Max. W's in the chat for Sean, and then W's in the chat for Cullen, who sent the $9.99 YouTube super chat to say kick fun. Cullen, you can't just demand a kick fun. We don't just automatically put bounties on everyone's head. I appreciate you though. And W's in the chat for Feisty. Hey Feisty. Feisty sent a $20 super chat to say Kamala sat down with Howard Stern for a long form interview. Exactly, Feisty. Kamala did plenty of interviews. There's so much to it, and we're going to dig into it, guys. If anyone else would like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All the pay links and link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Everything's accepted, anything's appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat, and I will read that out. Also, guys, Hector's hanging out here with us for a little while. Make sure we're showing Hector some love while he's up here. Please, 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 one, give him a follow. Hector's great. He runs some really amazing lives and much more respectable than my live. But give him a follow. Make sure that we are gifting him and hit his pay links. I know he has his pay links and link tree in his bio. Make sure we take care of him and show him some love. And for the people that always say like, "Oh, where'd you get that cool Kamala would never hat?" This guy right here. He has it in his link tree. So go check those out. Look, Max. So question. While during the 2024 election, or the race for the White House, I would say, what was Donald Trump's job?
For the race to win, of course. I mean,
right, but what was his job during the election cycle?
His job is, to propaganda, I guess, to spread his words. To
no, like he wasn't holding office, wasn't doing anything that was like taking him away from being able to campaign, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was Kamala Harris' job during the election cycle?
To campaign. I mean,
yeah, she wasn't in office with anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, I understand what you're trying to say now. She was a vice president.
Exactly. So it kind of bothers me when people sit here and say, "Well, Kamala Harris didn't do enough interviews, or she didn't do Joe Rogan and all this other stuff." Kamala Harris was literally the vice president of the United States of America while running for office. And people thinking that she should have just been sitting down every day, everywhere, just like Trump was, and actually negates the fact that she was helping run the country in multiple ways, including making sure that she continues to actually do her job, which is be the president of the Senate. And then also making sure that she handled any foreign duties that were given to her by Joseph Robinette Biden. She actually launched the campaign and ran the campaign within 107 days and had to establish so many things from like scratch. And people are just saying like, "Oh, she didn't do enough interviews." While I agree, like the Democratic Party as a whole, their digital platform, they suck.
They don't target young audiences, and you know that.
Say it again.
They don't target young audiences. Like they only target
slow to react.
people.
Period. I think they're slow to react. Period. I mean, again, I always give this example. I went to LA for the Bernie Sanders AOC oligarchy tour rally, and it was myself and a bunch of other content creators, and they had us there, and we were like sectioned off into like this little side stand thing or whatever. I don't know. They had us all here, and then they had like legacy media across from us standing there, and they just had us like on these podiums, and that's all we did. Right? You're talking about content creators. Between all of us there were people had millions of followers combined, right? And you're sitting there, and the only thing that you're doing is having them stand on the platform. And the most they did was like move us to a different area because there was a photo op they wanted to get with AOC and Bernie Sanders. The Democratic Party has no idea how to utilize like new media, is what I call it. They have no idea, and that's on them, because they could be reaching out to the younger people and you know, people that actually engage in content creation, social media, podcasts, all this other stuff. So I wouldn't put that on Kamala Harris. That's, you know, the Democratic Party as a whole.
I especially wouldn't put that on her with, as Santana went over the time that she had to do it on top of her other duties. Despite that, she did about 80 interviews, including formal ones, podcasts, so on and so forth. So just because people didn't go out of their way to find the ones that weren't as big named as Joe Rogan doesn't mean that she wasn't out here doing the work. Not to mention, as already stated in her book and by several other media outlets, comes to find out they had a scheduling issue, and then ultimately Joe Rogan really and truly lied to her. That's why they didn't get the final one done.
So can we blame Joe Biden for it though? Because he wasn't dropping out, and why wouldn't he drop out if he felt, you know, I read.
I don't care to go back and talk about Biden. Biden did what he did, whatever. We're focused on what Kamala did in the time that she did it and how well she did it to the best of her ability, and then how the people still didn't even recognize that.
And even more than that, I like to actually bring it all the way back and say, like, what's done is done, right? I mean, we can sit here and relitigate the fact that, you know, Joe Biden didn't drop out like he said he would. Joe Biden, you know, put people in bad positions and this, that, and the third. But like we dealt what we dealt with. The decisions were made, and now we're dealing with the fallout today. And that's what I would like to address, because I'm not looking back to the 2024 election. I'm looking ahead to the 2026 midterms, and we have to actually deal with what's coming up, and we have to put like checks and balances in place because Donald Trump is running rampant through the country.
Yeah, and I mean, if the Democrats win the midterms, right, like most of the Donald Trump's powers to, you know, pass bills or anything at all, he would not be able to do it. I think his, you know, presidency can come to an end. But I have one last question. Since I know you guys are anti-ICE raids and all these things, right? If the Democrat governors take back, you know, the House, will these raids stop or not?
Hector.
Come on, Hector. He's eating.
Oh, sorry. So I'm not exactly. Well, I guess I am, but for the most part, I'm not necessarily anti-ICE. I'm especially anti-ICE under this administration, right? ICE is internal security from foreign and yeah, mostly foreign threats, should be domestic too, other departments for that. So I understand they have a job to do, and I understand they have to get threats. That's how the Obama administration weaponized ICE. That's how the Biden administration weaponized ICE. We saw them going around, and more so when they picked up someone, they had a record. That's good. I have no problem with that. This administration's uses of ICE, the reducing of the standards to get them in, the well-recorded reports that we have of processes being bypassed, including fingerprint recognitions, so that we can see that they had criminal records. One in Georgia we just had in October, dude was arrested for assault and battery. Those things are my problem. The fact that Trump is just letting anybody and everybody get into ICE, not be properly trained, detain, and to inevitably deport people who are not only legally allowed to be here, in some cases are citizens. That's the issue. ICE is going to be here once Trump is long gone. It's how they're weaponized. That's my issue. And no, the House wouldn't necessarily be able to stop them, especially considering a lot of this is executive action, and then directives from the president, who's currently overseeing these departments. But we can see things like HR 4371. That bill can be stopped if we get more people in Congress. Absolutely. That's a good thing. So we're just going to be able to limit his powers and how broad he applies them. We're not going to necessarily stop ICE from being the pieces of shit that they are now.
Yeah, and even more so, you said something. One, ICE. I'm sorry, there's no governors that are elected to the House. But when you talk about the possibility of the House control flipping to the Democratic Party, that more so speaks to checks and balances, not stopping ICE. To Hector's point, ICE is overseen by the executive branch as a whole because it falls under DHS. I think, DHS. So, I think that what's happening right now is gonna be what continues to happen. I think when you talk about taking back power at the midterms, it's the ability to hold Trump and other people within the administration accountable versus actually being able to just stop them from doing what they want to do.
And one of the things that has pissed me off as a Floridian for like my whole life is that the police has been weaponized to be ICE now. Like all they do is go after
not just the police,
everyone. Like
the Trump administration has allocated over 20% of all federal police agencies, like the FBI and stuff like that, to supporting ICE. So they have like all these other agencies, U.S. Marshals, all of them supporting ICE in one way or the other.
Yeah, and I don't like how they weaponize the police, because the police is supposed to, like protect the community, right? Like answer calls faster, but now they're not. I hope they're answering their calls as fast. But bro, I see everywhere they're stopping cars because of reasonable suspicion, right? And
really, that's because I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hector.
It's slight derailment, not really. Did you mention you're in Florida?
Yes.
Who are your government candidates? Do you know?
No, but I know the Miami major that won.
First and foremost, you need to pay attention to that. Secondly, I'm not sure who the other strongest candidate is currently, but from the review I did over in Florida, David Jolly is a fantastic candidate. He'll be going up against what's his name? Byron Donalds, who was endorsed by President Trump and is a fucking mistake. So David Jolly, fantastic candidate. He used to be MAGA. And then after 2016, 17, saw what happened to farmers and whatnot, he completely changed. He's now a Democrat, and he actually not just Democrat by name. He actually stands for democratic policies. Still holds his little Christian family views, but he's actively against this administration, many of the things they've done. So look into David Jolly and some other ones. Sorry.
Yeah, and if either or are against ICE, but it's hard. It's harder to support someone that Trump endorses, because they go ahead and do what he is doing, right? So I have to look into the nominees, right? But there was a guy, I'm not sure. His name is James Fishback. Is he not another? Isn't he running for governor for Florida too?
I don't know if he made that official. I know the next guy who's running alongside David Jolly, I don't remember his exact name. He's a black guy. That's not his name though. Give me a second.
Because here it says running to succeed Ron DeSantis as Florida's next Republican governor to make life more affordable. That's what it says on Google.
Oh no, he's terrible.
Yeah, and
also
like, unless you have, I think that people are negating the fact that like you're seeing in not only Florida but other states like Georgia and Mississippi and Ohio, the Republican strongholds that have been in place are now starting to crack and crumble, and that's directly due to what Donald Trump has done since he's gotten back in office. Right. And I don't want to make this a Florida thing, because like while I do think that you need to gear up for the midterm and you need to understand your local politics, state and, level politics, whatever. The thing that I want to make sure that people are understanding is, as a complete country, we have to come out in the midterms and push back, because the cracks have already started to show. And the only way there's going to be real accountability is if we step up and hold this administration accountable. And now you have a responsibility to do so. Looks, Max, it seems like you're kind of shifting your tone and temperament. When you know better, you do better. And it seems like you know better now. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was my first time voting, right? There's people that change their minds. Like I said, I voted for him because I was influenced, and there was just things that I like, but that doesn't mean I cannot change my mind. But can you repeat the Democrat nominee, or the one running for governor here?
So the one I mentioned is just my favorite so far from what I've seen. If you want to see all of the candidates, just go to dos.elections.myflorida.com. Your Florida Department of State has them all listed. It's going to give you a list to look over every single one and what works best. But yeah, dos.elections.myflorida.com. But everything Santana just said is 6,000% correct. The ultimate thing right now is what can we do now? Like, talking about the past and what happened here and what went wrong and stuff, really none of that means nothing. We can look at this administration, the harm that they're causing, even with the good that you can say, the ideas that you like. This is what I've learned about Trump supporters. So, Tad, you can confirm this. You will say something that on paper, on just surface level, just the statement alone sounds good. Protect borders. But then his process for doing such is so fucking draconian. It's insane. So a lot of times I want you guys to look deeper into what he says he's going to do and how he's going to do it and just how detrimental it is, whether it's financially. We can look at the big, beautiful bill and the money that could have went to actually reform at the border. It's just going towards ICE and bonuses, again, for people who are literally criminals. Just do a bit more due diligence on how he's going to go about doing the things he's claiming he wants to do, how he's going to make the country more affordable, which is literally tariffs. He said this, and then Jerome Powell said, yo, most of the inflation because of tariffs, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and well, I want to finish this off with, I'm in college, so like I there was an ICE hiring whatever in my school, and you know how they like everywhere there's ads that they offer 50,000 to join, but they offered me 15,000. I'm like 15,000 to join, and you know how much people are like they get discriminated a lot. They get insulted by a lot of people, and I don't know how they can live with that.
I think the bonus is up to 50,000, if I'm not mistaken. That's probably why I could kind of vary based off your circumstances and region. But you mentioned being in college, you said?
Yeah.
How long you got?
Well, it's my freshman year. I got 3 more.
Got you. Did you have to do any student loans for that?
No, because I have scholarships, and
his family's privileged.
I'm not privileged at all because I worked hard for my scholarships. Actually, because FOU is mad expensive.
Your family. I said your family, not you.
They're not privileged. Why would they?
You've told me before that your family is well off.
Yeah, well off, but doesn't mean I'm well off. I'm homeless.
No, I said your family. I'm not talking about you. Not you specifically. Your family is in a position of privilege. And
my mom is an immigrant. So are you proud of her?
I'm proud of anyone that actually has the ability to grab them boots that doesn't even have straps and pull themselves up. But I'm not proud of her if she actually supports like what's happening to other immigrants. Like, no, I'm not proud of that.
I'm gonna go try to change her mind right now. Maybe I can change her mind I don't think she's gonna vote for the governor because he has been weaponizing the police, like I said, and we don't like that. Yeah. Like, you know what he made? How like some plates have like the side, like they like when you buy a car, they have like the plates have like a cover.
Mm-hmm.
He made it so that now if you have that cover, it's illegal and you can go to jail for up to 2 months.
Yeah. Florida's a dystopian country. It's not even part of the U.S. It's a whole different country. All right. Well, listen, I'm happy to hear at least that you are open to changing your positions. And
I've always been changing my mind. It's just, it's different because people are saying that I'm lying about changing my mind. I've never said I'm MAGA, and I've always, never wanted to be MAGA. So the people are wrong in the chat.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming up.
Have a good day.
You as well.
I'm sure you already saw this, Santana. With starting the 7th, we can see some student loans are going to start defaulting. It's going to start to affect your credit score, and they can try and go as far as to garnishing your wages. So it must be really nice to be in a position where your entire schooling was paid for by grants, or your rich parents, other people wanted to better themselves, had to rely on the government that they pay taxes in to try and get a leg up and to build themselves an education and a career. And now we're going to punish them for it.
Yep. That's exactly what's happening. And I mean, you can talk about the way that the Trump administration removed those protections and it's going to like go back into the deferment. But you can also talk about how they're removing the protections for medical debt. And it seems like for some reason they're good with harming United States citizens. I don't understand it, but I think that's where we are. So,
Yeah, you can teach a master class on it.
Yep. Anyway, I appreciate you coming on, bro. Thank you for helping out.
Absolutely. Take it easy, man.
Yep. Have a good one. Guys, Debbie's in the chat for Hector, and Debbie's in the chat for Patty. Patty sent a $5 Canadian and just said, happy holidays. Thank you so much, Patty. I really appreciate you. Guys, if anyone else would like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Pay links and links are in the bio. Santana Speaks For You. Santana Speaks For You is the best way to support the live. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat, and I will read that out. Guys, only request up if you're a Trump supporter. Only request up if you are a Trump supporter. We are only looking for some debates, guys. Please do not request up if you are not a Trump supporter. We are not talking to friendlies. Send a donation via PayPal. Yeah, I read that one out, Free. I read that one out. I said, you might not have been here at the time, but I definitely read that out and said, thank you for the 5. And we were talking about when you were speaking about popcorn. So absolutely. W's in the chat for you. Thank you, though. Oh, it looks like the box is clear. Which Trump will push term limits for everyone in office on both sides. He wouldn't do that. There, you know, the interesting point about like term limits. I think there is a actual pushback overall when it comes to term limits and whether like it's supported by the Republicans or the Democrats or whatever. So yeah. Anywho, if you are a Trump supporter and you would like to come up here and tell me why your family hasn't disowned you yet, which I don't agree, get in the box. I think that we have a pretty firm understanding that Donald Trump has canceled Christmas, which has affected a lot of people. I'm trying to hear like Christmas fallout stories, because I am positive that people that supported Donald Trump over the Christmas holidays and everything has been told by their family that they are no longer fucking with them at all. He said disown. Yeah, they disowned him. They completely disowned him. It like there's no way that you can tell me that you still support Trump. You met up with your family and your family is just like, good, we're good. Right? No way you can tell me that. Wrong? Sure, Jersey girl, come up here and tell me about it. I'm going to mute you. I can't send you a request because you got your request. I'll come up here and tell me about it. Politics played a role in my divorce. I get it. I absolutely get it. I'm locked in on the D program. Yeah, probably not, unfortunately. Yeah, I know for a fact that Trump supporters, you guys are in the shitter right now. Like you're spiraling, and that's it. My entire family left the Dems because fraud, which hurt us all. What fraud? Come up and tell me about it. I'm gonna just mute you because I don't, you're there, but I'm gonna send you a request. Come up here and tell me about it. What fraud did the Democrats actually perpetuate that caused your entire family to leave the Democrats and actually support the Republicans? Yeah, I didn't think you would come up. MAGA just says shit, right? Like they literally just say the most random shit and none of it's true. Thank you for the cake. Like they just make things up, and it's weird how they do so. My stepdad chose Trump over his daughters. I can believe that too. You know what's funny? I've seen these videos of like people talking to like their MAGA parents and grandparents, and they live in this delusional world. And it's weird how they live in this delusional world. I heard someone saying like the reason why the Republicans have not released the Epstein files is because Barack Obama is all in the Epstein files, and they're basically saving that as their big joker, right? Their trump card, for lack of better words. So the reason why they're not pushing and releasing the Epstein files yet is because they want to hold on to it, because Barack Obama is in the files and they want to utilize it. Job market is not crashing. Sure, come up and tell me about it, retirement. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Boom. And I'm going to send you a request. Come up here and tell me how the job market isn't crashing while unemployment is spiking. That's absolutely not true. Hi, you said the unemployment, you said the job market isn't crashing.
before we get started, you and I have talked before. I just want you to know I did not vote for Trump. So you may not want to talk to me because I'm not the opposition.
Okay. Give me 1 second here. Because I am interested in what you just said, but give me a moment here. Hi, Miranda, are you a Trump supporter? Miranda Miller, are you a Trump supporter? Okay.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna drop you down. All right, you said the job market isn't crashing.
I mean, the unemployment rate's gone from what, 4.1 to 4.6 since January?
Yeah, it's gone up, and also specifically, it's spiked for Black unemployment, and disproportionately Black women have become unemployed. But as a whole, there's been over 1 million American jobs lost since Donald Trump took power.
So, I mean, I would definitely agree. Obviously, the numbers say that the job numbers have gotten worse, but I wouldn't say crashing. I mean, you believe Biden had a good economy, right? His 4 years?
No, not for the 4 years. I think that the economy improved from where he took it over to where he handed it off. But I wouldn't say that he had a great economy because of all the other factors that were in play.
Right. So, I mean, like, it bottomed out about 18 months before Biden finished his term at around 3.5%. And it went from 3.5% up to 4.1%. So basically the same amount of jobs were lost the last 18 months of Biden's administration compared to Trump's first 12 months. So I agree with you. Check BLS.
Yeah, I'm looking that up right now.
I thought it was mid 2023. It was around 3.5%, if I remember correctly.
Second here.
And while you're looking, let me just clarify. I truly believe Trump is a horrible individual. Although I am a Republican and I've voted red my whole life, I did not vote for Trump. He's a horrible individual.
Yeah.
I don't want people on here thinking I'm defending Trump. I'm not defending Trump. I just don't want everyone to be depressed because they think the economy is so horrible. Well, the echo chamber makes people depressed is what I find.
So, like, the one thing that I will say as well is that a lot of people think that think that when we talk about the economy, it's one specific thing, right? And I'm sure you know the economy is made up of multiple factors. So unemployment, inflation, housing market, the stock market, all of these things play a role into the economy, consumer confidence. And so the economy as a whole is trending downwards because of everything that Donald Trump has done. But when you talk about the actual job market, my inference is like the trend that was prior to Donald Trump, when Joe Biden passed it off, and the actual, I'm looking for the specific charts. It's giving me like the overall.
I'll pull it up. I just walked up to a computer. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. But the point that I'm trying to make is that prior to the handoff, we were in a better position under the Biden administration when it came to the job market than we are currently under the Trump administration.
And I agree. When you say economy, I agree. The job market, maybe not as much. But yeah, the economy is obviously inflation. Now, one thing about inflation, look, we all know people run for office and say, oh, we're going to lower prices. Well, you actually don't want deflation. You just want the inflation number to come down as low as possible. I know the 2.7 is a fake number, but I'm still saying it's probably around 3 to 3.3. So inflation is not horrible. But the reality is we're struggling. Americans are struggling. If you're in the bottom half of American, it's hard. I mean, there's a reason I quit voting red. I mean, there are issues with MAGA and what they've done to our economy, and just the fact that they're a bunch of racist piece of shits. But at the end of the day, we all know the economy is a lot about sentiment. I just feel bad when people go on the echo chambers and hear how bad things are. And you really, man, something I love about TikTok. I never did TikTok lives until a year ago. It can be depressing if you sit down and listen all day long. I'm like, I need to get away from this and just go live life, because in the echo chamber, it's like, oh, man. So I guess that's part of why I said what I said. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
Look,
no, I mean,
things are worse.
I get you, right. I mean, I do think that there is a little bit of a gloom and doom type scenario, but I do think it's important for us to be sober minded when it comes to understanding what's happening and versus what Donald Trump said that he was going to do. 1 second. Nadia, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
And for TikTok purposes, how old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2007.
2007. Why'd you hesitate?
What?
Why'd you hesitate?
I didn't hesitate.
Seemed like you hesitated when I said, what year were you born?
No.
Okay. What state do you live in?
California.
What time is it right now?
14:53.
14:53?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not 14:53. Also, just FYI, in the U.S., most people use, they don't use military time. But
but
what?
I like using military time.
That's what's up. I do too.
I think he's Russian. Hey Santa, it was March of 2023 when it bottomed out at 3.4%, the unemployment rate per month. So it definitely went from 3.1.
What was the rate prior to, like, the couple of months prior to the Trump administration
when we're
taking over?
Let's see. So 2024, let's say October was 4.1, November was 4.2, December was 4.1. So December was his last full month. Biden was at 4.1.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, like, I think the big thing being that, like, the actual trend that it was on versus we understand, like, unemployment fluctuates at times, and unless you are Barack Obama, right, you're not going to see, continuous growth month over month over month. But the problem is with Donald Trump is his approach when it comes to unemployment. But overall, to your point, right, I mean, I think a lot of people can take a position of, like, the sky's falling. And while I do think, like, it's important to have this conversation and call things out for where they are, I don't think that, we're in the last days. Right. And I think that's the thing as well. So
yeah, I guess, look, I agree with about 90% of the stuff you say. I always got to push back a little bit when I hear something like that. But
no, I mean, I respect what you're saying.
You're a truth teller. I listen to you. There's certain people on this app that do not tell the truth. You do tell the truth 90% of the time, and 10% of the time, I don't think you're intentionally deceiving anyone. But look, you're also an entertainer. We all understand that. That's part of your job. So you got to get your likes and all that. But yes. So, but one time, last thing I'll say. It wasn't Trump or Biden's fault. It all comes down to monetary supply. And the Fed in early 23 is when they started pulling money out of the system, liquidity. That's what drove unemployment up during Biden's last 18 months and partly over the last, I guess, 11 months of Trump. They quit doing that finally December 1. Things are supposed to start looking better probably the end of 2026, first quarter. So hopefully in about 3 months,
you may see things. I don't think it's like, I think that we were trending in that direction, but, like, where things are, the problem that I have is that if Donald Trump would pull back on some of the things that he was doing, I think that the market would, like, kind of course correct itself, just with the invisible hand. I know that's like an economic term, but I'm talking about, like, the job market and, supply and demand and all this other stuff. I think it would kind of correct itself. But I think the fact that Donald Trump continues to tip the scales leads to more instability where it's going to take longer than it normally would to correct itself.
Yeah, I mean, so Trump's policies have made things worse, unemployment. I'm not going to sit there and say it hasn't in any form or fashion. Making companies are just unsure about hiring because of the uncertainty that Trump has brought to corporations and the business cycle and all that. That's why companies are not hiring. So companies are not laying off massively, but they're not hiring either. I mean, if you're someone coming out of high school or college right now, I pity you. It's so hard to get a job unless you're top of your class. Yeah. So it's tough. I mean, times are tough right now, and I do blame that on Trump, obviously, at the end of the day. But you're going to start seeing the tax cuts, good or bad. I mean, we all have our own opinions on that, but you're going to start seeing that money coming back into the system next year when people start getting their tax returns, plus the fact that the monetary supply is leveled out. The Fed's no longer pulling money out.
It's going to be low. Like, I under the Trump administration, especially like the last couple of years when we saw tax returns, people have been put in a position where either they're getting lower than expected tax returns or they're even having to pay back. And that's because of the change of deductions and the actual tax code that the Trump administration has implemented, right? We know that towards the end of the 8-year tax code that was originally established, it was like backloaded. So we saw more negative impacts. I think that's going to be a continuous trend.
Well, what you're going to see start happening is, I mean, he kept the rates the same for the brackets, the joint single. You're going to start seeing people getting returns. Like if you were getting tax on tips, I mean, there is some people who will benefit from that. It's not as good as anyone thinks. If you're a senior,
you know that's not happening next year, right?
Yeah, that's 2 more years at least. You're right. That is not that. That's 2 more years. The senior deduction, they get an extra $6,000 deduction. So that's an extra potentially $1,500 in your pocket, maybe, or maybe an extra $1,000.
The reason why, like, I push back on the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and like I'm interested to find out about the senior deduction is that the IRS came out and said there weren't going to be any changes to the 2026 tax form versus what it was in 2025. And we understand that most of these special deductions can't be listed under a standard deduction. So like that's why no tax on tips, no tax on overtime wouldn't be like necessarily a thing. But like
I'll say this.
Give me 1 second because I see someone in the chat said they sent a message they want me to read out. Let me thank a couple of people. I'm sorry. Alec, thank you so much for the $5 donation. And a couple of days ago, you were talking about it, talking to a guest about Nick Fuentes. He had the benefit, he had the belief that Nick would become a wizard or ultimate wizard. Can you clarify the belief if you remember? Yeah, there's a group of people who think that if they stay virgins until 33, then they'll become wizards. They get magic powers if they're men that stay virgins until they're 33. It's a whole thing. You can look it up online. W's in the chat for Jessica. Thank you so much for the 5. Jessica sent a $5 donation saying, when we talk about the job market, we need to talk about the amount of ghost jobs persistent on the job search site. It's a serious issue. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's definitely a thing where there's a bunch of openings that are posted and those positions are never filled. What it actually happens is sites that do like data mining and they collect your data and then they sell your data to other companies. So like that's an absolute thing. W's in the chat for Jessica. Thank you so much for the 5. And holy shit, W's in the chat for Latanya. Latanya sent a $50 super chat over on YouTube and say Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you, Latanya. Thank you so much for that $50 super chat. That is absolutely amazing, guys. W's in the chat. If anyone else likes to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All the pay links and link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. Santana speaks for you is the best way to support the live. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're on YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Guys, take a look at the top. If you see the word follow, that means you're not following me. Hit that follow button. Hit that follow button. This is the main account. We're on the main account for a couple more days. So make sure that you hit that follow button and turn on notifications so you don't miss when I go live. Keep tapping the screen, guys. Let's get up to 200,000 likes. Yeah, so I guess just to kind of round that out, while I do think that there's a little fluff on both sides, right? Things are never as good nor bad as most people think they are. But I do think it's really important that we be aware of like trends, things that are currently happening and possible outcomes. I think that's a huge thing.
Absolutely. And look, at the end of the day, just because the economy does better doesn't mean the poor people or lower income people, their lives will get no better. So we need to find other ways to help them out. And obviously, Trump's not doing that. The deduction for seniors 65 and older is for 2025. So when people are doing their taxes now, it's retro back to January 1, 2025. So husband and wife over the age of 65 would get a $12,000 extra deduction. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the 22% tax bracket, that's an extra $2,800. If you're in the 12%, extra $1,500. So people will see little stuff like that. I forgot the tax and tips is 2 years later. You're right on all that. Companies are allowed to do a 100% deduction on capital expenditures for 2025. So you saw more people spending more money on capital equipment. They'll be able to write more of that off. So there are things that are going to help the economy. And that could cause inflation too. I'm not saying it's all good because, I mean, if we're able to do that stuff, we may overstimulate the economy. And obviously Trump's policies when it comes to tariffs and some other stuff have kept inflation higher than it needs to be. So at the end of the day, Border, horrible human being, what he did, stuff he did for Medicare, or the extra money for paying for people's Medicare and all that rest, Affordable Care Act. I mean, horrible, all the stuff they did. Economy will get a little bit better. Now, that's going to help, obviously, the top 10% more than anyone else. Other people, middle class, Hopefully it'll help them some. The poor, it's still going to be hard no matter what. So what he's done, I don't agree with. I'm glad I didn't vote for him. I would never vote for him again. I liked Vance before he actually was Trump's VP. I don't think I can vote for him now. We'll get crushed, the Republicans, probably in the midterms, 2028. I probably think it's going to be Newsom. Will crush whoever the Republican is. Maybe the Republicans come back in 2032 and maybe have a shot. Vivek, what's Vivek's first name? The guy, he's going to be the mayor of Cleveland, or not mayor, but he's more of a center right. He's come out of saying, hey, let's help the poor. This is the first Republican I've seen do this, is just in the last week. Hey, let's start helping the poor people, but still be pro-capitalism. And he's a very softer version. I wish we could go back to the days when it was center left, center right politicians, the far left, far right.
I believe in the extremes. I think that we need to lean into like all the leftist socialist policies and, create an actual reproduction of like Switzerland and Netherlands and Finland and stuff. Like I love the Nordic model as far as taking care of like Americans, and like the idea that if you lose your job, you can call one phone number and they'll pause all your bills for an entire year while you get yourself together. Like, why not? Like, we could definitely take care of American citizens like that. But,
I'm not an economic specialist. I mean, remember, this is a country of 30 million people. It's a lot easier to do something like that. I mean, they do have their negatives. I mean, is it Denmark where you have universal health care and all this other stuff? Also, one of the most racist countries in the world. I mean, they are 90% Caucasian and racist beyond belief. So, I mean, and not that makes that have anything to do with the free health care and all that. I do believe in universal health care. I just don't know how we get there. That's the thing. I mean, universal health care has to happen. I just don't know the path.
has 30 million Americans?
No, like Denmark. It's a lot easier in Denmark to do those policies when you only have 30 million people in your country versus 350 million. And these countries, what people forget is they've been around a long time. They don't have the poverty that we have over here. And sadly, the poverty we have over here, tell me if you think I'm 100%.
Because they take care of their citizens.
Well, no, but just remember this. Like, I was actually born in London, England, moved here when I was 3. I know a lot of Europeans, but I know a lot of Americans because I've lived here for 52 years. This is what I know. Over there, everyone's had an opportunity to have multiple generations who's been able to grow wealth over time. It's a lot easier in America if you come from a family that's got some wealth. When you had slavery and all that, you took all those people that were slaves and suddenly said, okay, you're not slaves anymore, but you're dirt poor, and they have to start at the bottom. Or the fact that we let so many people come in from overseas, like Denmark, they don't let people come in.
Even when it comes to like the slavery within the U.S., I mean, the black people have gained their freedom but didn't get anything else. But white people who lost slaves literally got reimbursed for their property. So, I mean, again, the premise that the U.S. could literally do the things that they say they want to do because we are the richest country on earth. I mean, like we have a trillionaire, or who's on pace to be the first ever trillionaire living in our country. So the premise that like the money is the issue or being able to take care of people, like we can do it all. Like even with the amount of citizens that we have, if we increase the taxes on American citizens, I think it's anywhere between 3 to 5%. We could have universal health care. Like we could,
and I have no problem with that. I think we should. But the problem is there's a lot of things we all want to do, universal health care, as well as a lot of other stuff. What's going to be the priority? Is it universal health care or housing? Or, I mean, there's a million things we need to do to help the lower percentage of our population and everything. The point I was making is we started with a lot more poor people just because of the horrible things we did to the slaves. And then on top of that, we allow a lot more immigrants coming in. Immigrants, typically, the majority of immigrants come in poor. You go to somewhere like Denmark, they're racist. They don't let immigration. They don't let people come into their country. So when you have a core group that's been around for hundreds, thousands of years, they've built their wealth, they have money, they're not having to deal with all the lower income people because people aren't flocking, or even the people that are trying to get there, they don't let them go over there. I mean, I was shocked. I read this about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, wow. So if you let no one pour into your country, and I believe me, I'm the one that thinks we need as many immigrants as possible because that helps the economy grow over the long term. And it frustrates me, my Republican friends that are anti-immigration. I'm like, y'all are clueless. You're ignorant. I don't know. Maybe you're racist. Maybe you're not. But y'all don't understand how much we need immigrants to grow our economy. And they're just stupid. Most of them Republicans that I'm friends with.
Well,
but,
look, let me. I'm gonna.
Go find opposition.
Drop you down. I think there's a lot we could have talked about, but I'm gonna go ahead and Alyssa, I appreciate you coming up and speaking.
Thanks, Santana. See you, buddy. Bye.
Thank you. Guys, really quick, do me a favor, look up at the top. If you see the word follow, that means you're not following me. Hit that follow button. Hit the follow button. If you don't mind. I know there was a lot said, and also, let me read this off real quick. W's in the chat for Marie for the $6.70 donation send. I'm sorry, did you say there were 33-year-old virgin cults where wizard powers are granted? The fuck are we doing here? That's it. That's enough internet. Shut it all down. Yeah, sometimes you got to cut the internet off completely. Yeah, that's what they absolutely believe. W's in the chat for Marie. Thank you so much. Guys, there's 1.5 thousand of us hanging out. And again, if you're not following me, go ahead and hit that follow button. I was planning on continue to go, but guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling good. Like I'm feeling kind of sick. So instead of continuing the live, I apologize. I think I'm gonna have to cut it here. And hopefully I will be back on later. I was planning on going for at least 4 hours, and we're almost at 2 hours, but yeah, I'm not good right now, so I don't think I can keep going. I might be back later, guys, but I gotta call it here. So thank you all for hanging out. I'm sorry that this is turning into a shorter live, but yeah, we're gonna do the quick outro, and then we'll go from there.
You stepped in the box, now you're in the ring. Ain't no hugs here, you better take your best swing. Mike Hot, who wanna step in the flame? This ain't a debate, this a mind game. Facts like lies, get left in chain. One wrong word, get slapped out your name. This ain't TikTok T, this a war zone talk. No script, no filter, no safe walk. Bring stats who get scrambled like a glitch. I got fire in my mouth like I came from the pit.
Hey, guys. Again, I apologize about cutting it short. Hopefully, I'll be back later this evening. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you for all the gifts, the likes, the taps, the shares. Thank you for the love and support. I love you all. And as always, peace.